So right about now, we want to usher in the next batch of discussion right here, and it's being led by none other.
Terry, I'm going to leave this to you and invite your guests.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Have you had breakfast? Hi, everybody. You look so fantastic from here. It's so good to be here. My name is Terry Mukiamba. I am so excited to have this conversation. And I want to be very real with you, okay? I want to be very real, very raw, because let me be honest with you. The first time I heard about the whole concept of legacy, I was like, who really cares what I leave behind? Also, I thought, legacies are for people like Oprah or Elon Musk, not regular people like me. Anybody else who feels sort of the same? You can be honest with me. Nobody? Okay, that's fantastic. I think I was the only one. So, I had a hard time just thinking about the idea of legacy. I thought, I'm not running a tech company or a media company, so should I really care about legacy? And then about exactly 8 months ago, during the Mandamano period, I had my son, and I looked at this little boy, and I thought, okay, so what kind of world am I leaving behind for him? And that really triggered me to think about what I am doing in my career, in my personal capacity, to just leave a better world for him. And I think that's what legacy is about, right? So you might be thinking, I'm just 19, I am 23, how am I supposed to be building a legacy? Isn't that for people who have been around for decades, Sometimes we think like that. But I want to tell you that your future plans soon become your past, and your past will become your legacy. Shout out to Doreen for telling me that today. So legacy starts now, and we have a wonderful panel. We're going to be talking about our professional legacy, and allow me to introduce our panelists. The first panelist is someone who has turned his passion for fashion into a powerful brand that is now one of the biggest brands in the 254. Job Bryan is the founder of Home 254. A round of applause, everybody. Yes, Tom 254 is a premium fashion brand made right here in Kenya. And what makes Job's journey so inspiring, at least to me, is the fact that it's not just the success of this brand, but the fact that he has built such a strong community, and the community is grounded in a powerful message of inclusivity, and that message is you belong. So we're so happy to have you, Job. All right, so the next leader we have is, she's so empowering. Every single day she wakes up, I look at her stories, I look at what she's doing in terms of business, and I'm really inspired. So we have a leader who's empowering women every single day through her fashion brand, Ikojn, Cris Njoki. A round of applause, another one. Let me tell you what Cris is doing. Cris is obviously building this beautiful Kenyan brand, which also dressed me today. And she is creating empowerment for women, because right now, 99% of her workforce is female. Can we give a round of applause for that? 99% is female. That's fantastic. And she's on a mission to create opportunities for 1 million African women. And her vision and future for Ikojn is so bold and so inspiring. And she just launched in Ghana. So a round of applause. And finally, oh my goodness, I'm so thrilled to have our third panelist. He's incredibly versatile. He's a force when it comes to Kenyan film industry. We're talking about Phil, who is a producer, he's a director, he's an actor, and he's a businessman. He takes his business so seriously. He's the CEO of PhilIt Productions, and he has directed award-winning films. And there's something that he's doing that is truly remarkable. Phil, and I feel like this is what sets him apart. His commitment to mentorship and also helping young professionals understand the value of persistence, failure. He has that famous question that he asks everybody, and we're going to ask him today. And we're going to learn how he's building his professional legacy. So This is our panel, guys. One last round of applause. How are we feeling, panelists? Fantastic. We're feeling good?
Yeah, we're feeling we belong.
We're feeling we belong. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, before we begin, there is a QR code on the screen, and the panel was so gracious to prepare some material for you. So we have compiled a list of books, a list of podcasts, and stuff that is really inspiring everybody on the panel, and we want to share that with you. So please make sure you scan and get to see what we're listening to, we're reading. I think it's fantastic. All right, so before we begin, I give everybody an assignment. Yeah? And the assignment was that I wanted every person to come with an item that represents their professional legacy. So, have we done the assignment? That's where we are going to begin. One item that you feel represents your professional legacy.
Okay. So I carried my checkbook. And people always ask me, why, PhilIt, why do you focus so much on the money aspect in the creative industry? And I think it comes from trauma. So, yeah. So I was born and grew up in a very humble background, slums, Nairobi, in Dandora. So for me, the reason I get up every day is because I never want to go back there. And it's more scary because I exist in the creative sector, which is not formalized as such. So there's no really written path you can follow to success. And so I think that keeps me awake every day, that I want to bring money to film, to the creative arts, so that if there's an artist out there who's looking up to me, they can see a clear path of how you can commercialize your art. So yeah, I think if I'm able to crack that, then that becomes my professional legacy.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Just keep the checkbook well, because mimi hapa. You know? Cris, what's your item?
So, first of all, good morning, everybody. It's so wonderful being here, and it's wonderful to be on this panel with you amazing people. And I'm going to be honest, Terry asked us to bring something today, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you because I forgot to bring something. I actually had something I was going to bring, and then today morning when I walked in and I saw Terry's face, I was like, oh my God, I forgot it. But, you know, when we were talking, I thought, okay, what means a lot to me and what sort of has kept me on this journey? And as much as I forgot this one thing that I brought, the real thing that has defined my success is myself. And there's different elements, right? So you can think like my mind, the way I think, my vision, my hands. Just, I think for me, all that encapsulates where I am right now and why I keep pushing. And I think it's a true reflection of all of us. Like, I also want this to be a motivation that we are enough, you know? You don't need a product or something. What you have, every one of us has been instilled gifts, you know, by God, and what you have is enough, and what you have is different from everybody else out there. Don't feel like, okay, I can't be as good as this person because they have this or they have this. No, what you have is enough, and that's what I brought today. Me, because I'm enough.
Good morning, everyone. Terry's there where you can change positions with Cris, because after she speaks, I don't know what to say.
I'm so sorry. We're not changing.
So for me, what defines my legacy, or the item that keeps me going, it's this. Though I forgot it, and I'm sorry. Maybe I will post it on my Instagram. You can follow me. So the thing is, it's the first hoodie that I ever made. As an engineering student, when I was making that hoodie, it was a crappy hoodie. You know, we made it in River Road. I'm not saying that people who make things in River Road, they are crappy stuff. Yeah, but that time, it was so many years ago. So when I look at that hoodie, it reminds me being in an engineering class and still following your passion. Okay, you do what your parents want you to do, but you still have to follow your passion. And this hoodie was so special because the person who bought it, in engineering, it was only the ratio of 2 to 31. 2 ladies in a class and 31 gents. So this lady, who was my crush then, she loved that thing and it was not even good. So she gave me the hope to keep going. So I keep it to always remind me the journey that I've gone and the steps and how Home to 5 has transitioned from what we had then to what we have now. And I believe it always reminds me of my journey, not to ever stop and to keep on innovating and keep on getting better. So Terry, I'm sorry I didn't do the assignment, but yeah. We're not saying that fashion people do not do assignments, We usually do our assignments. It's just because we forgot. Yeah.
2 out of 3 numbers do not lie. But yeah, so welcome to the professional legacy panel. And, when I was thinking about this, I thought about professional legacy and I really introspected about it. And I thought, professional legacy isn't just about being the employee of the month or getting a promotion here and there. It's really about building a lasting impact on people and people around you, whether it's a team member, a colleague, a friend. It's about creating something that continues to influence and inspire others. And one of the ways we do that is by the values that we employ in our businesses, our places of work. And I want to find out from each one of you what values you employ in your business that you would say will lead to create a lasting legacy.
I think you'll be pointing out who's going to start.
We can start with you.
Okay. Values. So at PhilIt Productions, I think the first value I always try and inculcate in our productions is fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're an entertainment company. Yeah. So if we're not having fun at work, and filmmaking is a very stressful job. Yeah. Our call time is usually 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. Like we get to work by 6 a.m. Yeah. And sometimes we leave at 10, 11 p.m., sometimes past midnight. Mm-hmm. The last film we did, there's a day the team shot for 48 hours non-stop. Yeah, wow. So the first thing is, please, when you come here, let's have fun. And that fun is translatable on the screen. Mm-hmm. The other value we look for is integrity, 100%. We work in a space where when it comes to acting and creating a film, you're really in touch with your emotions. Like, you're portraying a character who's maybe going through abuse or something. And so you're really going to be vulnerable on set. And that is both for the actors and the crew. And so what we really ask for is integrity so that you feel safe. I think someone said there are no safe spaces, just safe people. So integrity is huge for us. And we have to be loud. Yeah. Yeah. When the industry, when showbiz, that means we have to show the biz. So we also have to be loud about what we're doing and proud of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I love that. And the reason why I feel like this is such an important conversation is how everybody has that. Integrity is not something that you cannot have, right? It's so within reach. Having fun is something that's within reach. So that's why this conversation is so important, because it shows that we all have, like Cris said, we're enough. Can we have integrity? Absolutely. Can we have fun? Yes. Can we be loud? Sometimes. But anyway, Cris, so you're creating a truly sustainable legacy, not just a brand. What principles or values do you include in your business?
That's a great question. And I'll start by saying that at Ikojn, like you mentioned in the intro, we are 99% women. And that was a very conscious decision for me. Starting out, honestly, it wasn't something I thought about. At the very beginning, it was not my intention to just bring in women. But 1 year in, 2 years in, I was like, I could clearly see there was a gap And there were women who would join us, and you could tell they were just very passionate. They wanted to learn something, but life dealt them the wrong cards. They just didn't have the opportunity. And so 2 years in, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to be that person who will give them these skills and will empower them. And by the time they leave here, if they ever do, I want them to leave with more than what they came in with, right? But that said, when it comes to the values we instill at the brand, I think for me, my the top ones that I really, really try and, make sure my team is on top of is, sorry, why am I forgetting the word? It's, hey, guys. No. Okay, so it's speed and failing, right? And, when you're running the brand, or even just generally in life, we're all really scared of failing. We're all scared of starting something lest it doesn't work. Lest people see it and they're like, oh my God, that's not nice. And this comes from an experience I had even when I was starting Ikojn. I remember I was crippled with fear. It took me, I think, a year and a half to eventually start the brand. And I gave myself so many excuses. I was like, no, I'm doing research. No, I need to make sure, I know what people want. I need to make sure by the time I'm launching, it's perfect. It was all fear just in different excuses, different, reasons I was giving myself. And now with Ikojn, I really try and push the team for us to do it fast and fail fast and then learn fast and recover from that. So at Ikojn, we want to reduce the time between the idea and the actual execution. The faster you can do that, the faster you're able to learn if you do fail. And if you do fly, then you're doing it faster than anybody else around you. I always tell my team, let's be the brand that, maybe our ideas are not the best all the time, but let's be the brand that executes them faster than anybody else. So by the time anyone around us is looking to do that thing, we've done it 5 times, we've failed 3, and we've succeeded twice, and we're 2 times ahead of anybody else. So speed and failure.
Speed and failure. Does that feel like it's achievable? Yeah, absolutely. JB, please tell us the values that you have at Home 254.
So first of all, Cris, when you were talking about people executing faster than you, why were you looking at me? You don't want to play that game with me. So for us, first of all, I will not speak about all our 5 values, but I'll pick the top 3. So for me, I will not say that these are the values I was looking for when I was hiring first, because at first I was just putting my friends, my family, the people I like, those kind of things. But that messed me up, When you really, really want to build a brand, that messes you up later on if you don't fire fast. So the first value that we live by, or we can say that makes us who we are, is building a community, right? Because everyone, and this is what I can tell everyone can make a quality product. Everyone. Because you can have access to the same fabric, can have access to the same raw materials, the same everything. But what makes you more than that product? When someone wears that product, what kind of feeling do they get? So for us, one of our values is building a community. When you join the team, yes, we retain our product, but we want us to do more than just having the great product. So that's why we go by the "You Belong" tagline. Like, you want to meet someone, in case anyone is wearing Home 254 here. If you meet anyone else wearing Home 254, you'll find yourself saying hi to them. But if you see, okay, I'm not talking about any other brand. Let's say Nike and another Nike. You'll not say hi. Yeah. It's because of what you've built. You'll say hi and you'll smile. Try, if there's any gentleman and any woman wearing Home 254, just try smiling at that lady. She will smile back, Mm-hmm. Yeah, then the other value is resilience. Running a business in Kenya and Africa is a sport.
Yes.
Like, at some point I wanted to remain small, but again, if you remain small, you're not. So if you want to grow, you will have to be resilient, because every day is a different problem. Every day someone is trying to take it away from you. Every day you got to realize that someone working 3 times harder than you. Me, the only thing I usually say about myself, you will not outwork me. But I will not chase my competitors, but I'll make sure I outwork you, because I know at some point utachoka. Kama unafanya ukituangalia, you'll get tired at some point. Another thing, the other value that we go by is changing the game. We want to be the brand that when everyone sees anyone doing something like us, they will say, we saw this first at home 254. We will not go yapping and saying you copied us or you did something that you're doing, because we want to change the game. We want to be like leading, then the rest follow. Okay, Cris, not you, but yeah, we'll just have anyone else following. But we always focus on the game, right? We focus on making ourselves better, doing stuff better, because people used to believe like made in Kenya products are not products that you can buy. They only believe like, okay, the big brands are the things that are the products that you can get that are quality. But now we're changing that, and people are starting to believe in made in Kenya. Yeah, so those are the three values that we go by, and they keep us going. So if now we are hiring under those values, if you don't believe in those values, we tend to just not hire you. And tutaambiwa tunaringa. But you see, we need to see where we really want to go. The time that we had to just hire friends and family and people who want them to feel good about us, that time is up.
Yeah.
We want to build a legacy. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was before Youth Plus. But yes, we want to build a legacy. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I love that we all shared values that we all can easily get, right? So what stops us? And if you ask me that question, I would say it's fear of failure. And I think I've said this before on this stage, that fear of failure it's an interesting thing, because every single time I'm afraid of failing, I like to ask myself, am I afraid of failing, or am I afraid of embarrassment? Right? Am I afraid of how embarrassing it will be if I fail? Or am I really afraid of failing? And that leads me to the question that Phil asks everybody: what is your relationship with failure?
I love failure nowadays. I've made failure a friend. In fact, I think the last couple of years, like the last 2-3 years, one of the best things I can do for myself is every end of the week, I actually count how many things I've failed at. And because that tells me I'm not sitting in my comfort zone. If I failed at something, it means I tried something new, something out of my comfort zone. And I failed because I was not afraid. And yeah, so that's number one. I've gotten really comfortable with failure. The other thing I learned is something about DNA. I mean, it's boring. I'm not a scientist, but they say you can actually rewrite your DNA. And if you look at athletes, how do athletes keep getting better year by year? And it's because they keep pushing themselves to the point of failure, and then their body is like, yeah, we need to rewrite this code of DNA and get strong at this. And so even in business, the more you fail, the better you actually get at doing the business. The more you try new uncomfortable things, the more you chat into new uncomfortable territories, you actually become stronger. And the things that used to scare you don't scare you as much anymore. So for me, failure is actually something nowadays that I strive to. Like, we'll get an idea, a really crazy big idea. Let's do a movie premiere and make it the biggest in Africa.
Yes.
That means packing 6,000 people in this auditorium. That is scary. The first day we walked in here, we looked at the size of the hall and we were like, oh my God, this has never been done before.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not even scared. I can do 3 of those. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Cris, when it comes to your professional legacy, where are you with failure?
So failure, even like I mentioned, it's literally something that I try and embed even within Ikojn. And for me, failure is synonymous with momentum, right? Failure means you're moving. Failure means you're doing things. When you don't fail, and you sit there and you're like, okay, I've never failed at anything. Maybe it's because you haven't tried anything. For me, failure means you're constantly moving. And one of my favorite quotes is, once you stop to grow, you begin to die. And I want you to think about that. If you think of anything that moves, right, whether it's like a river or a boulder, anything, a lot of these things that move will start gaining momentum. They'll start moving faster, and it works with anything, even with our anatomy. You know, if you start doing one single thing every day and you do it consistently, you get faster at it, you get better at it, and that's exactly my, how I would define failure. Failure basically means that you're moving. And so for me, I'd rather see someone failing multiple times, and even for myself, than someone who doesn't fail at all, because to me it means that that person is constantly trying to improve themselves, trying new things, and I feel like it's something that we should just all just become one with. Like, failure should be your second name.
I absolutely love that. I hope you're writing. Failure is synonymous to momentum. I have a different question for you, JB, and I'm just thinking about failure and doubt. Has there been a moment that you could probably take us back to, a pivotal moment, when you had to make a choice that you feel, this choice defines my professional legacy?
Yes. Wait, I had prepared for that question, but yeah, let me. So yes, there's a point, this is not far away. It's like 2 years ago. So when you have to choose between family and business, that was the hardest choice that I ever had to make. And I have to make this choice like almost every single quarter, every single month. Because, having to work with your siblings is not the easiest thing. So you have to choose growing your legacy or making your time easy when you're having family Christmas or family vacations. So I didn't want to be the person who's not being invited for family events. You only see them on Insta stories because of the decision you made. But I had to make that decision, right? Because you're trying to see. You have so many people depending on this business. So do you want to do a feel-good thing and have a false sense of harmony with your family just to make them feel good? But in the long run, you are destroying what you've been building. So at some point I had to make that decision. You see, it's not personal. I want to make that decision and still go for family events and still get I love the thighs of the chicken, and still get to serve the thighs of the chicken because people still like me in regards to the decision that I make, right? So, okay, I made that decision, then got so much hate from family because, you see, it seems like you're destroying someone else's life. But again, remember, you have 68 other people who depend on the same thing. So making that decision was not easy, and I think that defined, because the more you fail, I don't know if there's something in your entrepreneurship journey, you grow a layer of making hard decisions, because the more hard decisions you make, the easier they become. The same way, when you fire your first person, you'll not feel that good. But when you fire like 12 people, oh my God, it becomes so easy. I'm not saying that that's what I do. Yeah, like you have to make those hard decisions over and over and over again. And now it's building some kind of resilience in me. And that's how we managed to keep on growing. And that's how we got to where we are today. And that moment defined on how I make my decisions. It's not all about emotion. It's logic now. Now I need to think logically. Yeah, I feel bad about it, but I'll still make the right decision. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you feel like it's lonely at the top?
It's so lonely at the top, but later on it doesn't become lonely because now you'll be attracting. Now you'll not be going to look for people. Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe like in some years it won't be lonely at the top.
All right. Phil, I want to know if there is any decision that you have made in your business, in your career, that you feel like you keep going back to it, like this was a terrible decision, I shouldn't have done this. Is there one thing that you regret?
Yeah. Starting my business without an accountant. worst mistake of my life. I mean, for us, we were just creatives who wanted to tell our stories, and we thought, okay, let's open a production company, and we kept fumbling around, and we got a good contract, and we got a good show, and I was like, guys, please, I've done this. I've run productions for about a decade. I can run this thing.
Yeah.
Where? The losses we hit. I remember by the time we were done with a project, and in like 6-7 months we were like negative 5M, and so I think tumekula hiyo do, but we just didn't have an accountant, so we weren't keeping records. We wanted to change the industry, so we were overpaying people.
Yes.
Walijibamba sana. So I think to date that is usually my biggest regret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes regrets, they might stop us. I'm glad you kept going and you got an accountant.
Actually, I had a conversation, the landlord or Abel actually. So during this period, we're pretty stressed. How are we going to recoup this money? There's so many suppliers we've not paid. And by the same time, the show we had done was really good. And the channel came back and they were like, we want to renew for a new season. And Bob, is that you? Bob used to be our business partner. He uses mistakes to make na yeye. He knows what I'm talking about. Uko nachoma sana. He's a man. And yeah, he had a conversation with me, Abel and Bob, and he was like, you guys, when you have a new contract, your first priority is the new contract. We forget about those dates. So now imagine going back to the same people we were working with, telling them, you guys have to come back to work. Na tujawalipa for the last season. And on top of that, when you come back, we're actually deducting your salaries. Yeah, so when JB says that when you make hard decisions after that, it becomes easier, that was like the hardest conversation we needed to have with the crew and cast at that point. Yeah.
Cris, any decision that you can go back to?
Yes. I will start by saying, though, that generally, I think as a person, I'm a very silver lining kind of person, so I don't like looking back and regret. I'm always going to, even when the situation is so bad, I'll always try and say like, okay, it's bad, but I'm really generally like that. But if I have to think back on some of the things maybe I could have done better, the one that really stands out to me, I think, would be building maybe more of a support around me, right? I'll explain. I think growing up, my family, my parents were quite, they sort of like kept to themselves. My mom and my dad, they're still married, they've been married a while. But they're very like that super duo team, They do just stuff together, and we don't really like hang out with our external family. I don't know now, maybe there's other dramas there, but they really just like, for them it was us and our family against the world type of thing. And I think that sort of was what was instilled in me. And so even when I started the brand, I had this like DIY, do it yourself. You don't need anybody else. You can do this. As long as I have like my parents and my siblings, I'm fine. And later on, right now, or maybe like I'd say the past couple of years, is when I've seen that it actually has hurt me more than helped me, right? I didn't take time to go into more networking events. I didn't take time to meet people, like-minded people around me. I didn't take time to even get like mentorship, things like that. Even sitting in places like this, I feel like it's so commendable being able to see all of you guys coming to, expand your horizons, expand your knowledge. I didn't do any of that, and I think that harmed me more than helped me. I could have probably succeeded faster. I could have probably hit my goals much, much faster. But again, I'm a silver lining babe. I'm not going to cry about it. Now I'm doing it. Now I'm networking. Now I'm meeting more people who can like help me, help my growth. And so, if I had to look back, I think that's the one thing that probably I could have done better.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Cris. Now remember, you can scan the QR code if you need to see some of the books that the panelists are reading, some of the podcasts that they're listening to. It's truly valuable material. Now, at some point, I know everybody on this panel has been employed, even if it was like for 2 weeks, right? And right now you're obviously running businesses. I mean, I would like to know from you, what is the one, or what is the most common misconception young people have about employment and or entrepreneurship? Phil, we can start with you.
Misconception, so employment or entrepreneurship. I think both of these give a very different worldview. So let me start with employment. I don't know much about it. I have never been employed. I have always been...
For 2 weeks? Internship, nothing?
Yeah, internship, sour. Okay. Let's go there. I know there's that worldview that, employment, it either gives you security, and then after a while people tell you employment sort of becomes like quote-unquote slavery, like you never grow.
In the plantation.
In the plantation.
Yeah.
So I usually have this conversation with a lot of young people, and one of the questions I'm asked nowadays, Phil, in 2025, how will you advise someone who's just left campus or college and they're starting out at life? My answer nowadays is go for apprenticeship. Call it internship, call it apprenticeship, call it employment. And if you can, look for a small company with between 6 to 10 employees and learn. Like really, the thing with in being in such a small company, you will do everything. And then you'll have really exclusive access to the CEO. So you'll see the process of him building that company to a point where it's hiring thousands of people. So I love employment for that. I love apprenticeship for that. I love internship for that. A misconception about entrepreneurship, people see the glory, not the story. I can almost imagine. I've never been in their world. But these people, they look glamorous, Njoki and JB, because they're in the fashion industry. But I'm almost willing to bet the majority of the time wanakuanga downtown, wakitafuta material, wakikata material. They don't look as glamorous as they do right now. They probably have a very nice office, but where they spend most of the time is in the back end of the office, and that place is not pretty. And I think that's what, when people think about entrepreneurship, they see the glory. They don't see the actual hard work, the actual story. Yeah.
Now that you said that, do you think that people are also doing a poor job at sharing the actual story? And especially now, because we live in a generation that just shows the highlights of our lives. So do you think perhaps we are to blame because we only show the good parts?
You do want to be looking bad on social media. So you want to look nice all the time. But
yeah.
I mean, it's a human nature. Like when I'm over there wrangling cables, nimebeba cables, nimevaa overall na kaa mchafu. At that point, I'm not even thinking of clicking a photo or a video. When Njoki is over there wakikosana na fundi, the first thought is not take my phone and show people.
Yeah.
It's human nature. We show success, unfortunately, but it's also one of the reasons I started my podcast, Becoming CEO.
Yes.
Because a lot of people would approach me and they love the life I'm living, and they think we just woke up one day and we're living that life. And the whole idea of becoming CEO is just have conversations with team leaders, with CEOs, so that they can actually show you the story, the journey.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's a very natural thing for human beings when they're taking videos or photos to take them at their best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cris, what is that one misconception that people have about businesses or even employment?
So I want to say that I also, like Phil, have not been employed. I've done an internship, back when I was finishing school. And at that point is when I just knew, okay, no, it's not for me. But what I want to try and, point out is that entrepreneurship, I feel like it's really been glamorized. Like, oh my gosh, start your own thing, leave employment, it's a trap, all of that. There is some truth to it, but entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and it doesn't have to be the way for you, I feel like right now it's like all we see on social media is like, start your own business, grow your own wealth, all of these things. But I look around and I even look at my friends in employment, and sometimes I envy their life, because being an entrepreneur has so much uncertainty. Yes, you're putting in your sweat, your blood, your tears, and you can see the result. That's the best thing I love about entrepreneurship, is like you actually get back exactly the effort you put in, right? So you can see. So if you say, look, I'm going to work extra hours, I'm going to do all these things, you will see the result in entrepreneurship, because things will improve, you can see stuff moving. In employment, if you put in extra hours, whatever, your salary sort of basically stays the same, unless you get a raise and you negotiate all of that. But employment has security. With employment, you can do a lot of things, right? And one of the things that, again, something small that I regret is actually not getting into a bit of employment, because the one thing they don't tell you when you're in entrepreneurship, especially if it's the only thing you know, is you have zero information on systems, You start your brand, you're on your own or with your partner. If none of you has experience being in employment, you have no clue about the systems that make that company work. Anything from hiring, what is it called? Procurement. All of those systems. These are the systems that actually, really show, elevate a company from just basic to actually next level. Those systems, you need them in your business. And if you have no, experience with them in employment, then it becomes really difficult to implement them in your own business. So that's the one thing I'd say. Employment is not this thing that's like really bad for everybody, but if you go in and you're looking to get into entrepreneurship at some point, use that time to learn the systems. As Phil said, get a small brand, something maybe that you look up to, go in there, really learn the systems. How do they work? Because that's what's going to define your company or your brand from a different brand, how your systems work, because that's really what's going to run your company.
I'm glad you said that, and you talked about employment, because let's be honest, not everybody wants to run a business, right? Right? Anybody who's like, business, no, it's not for me. Yeah, I can see a hand. Not everybody wants to run a business. And so I think sometimes even like members of the audience could be thinking, okay, so I'm an accountant. How am I going to create a professional legacy as an accountant, right? How am I going to create a professional legacy? And honestly, I just want to do ABCD without necessarily getting into business. And so I want us to talk about some of the values that you think will take you to building your professional legacy, especially when you're not in business. Like, for example, I could start with one, like a good work ethic, right? I think it's something that contributes to you building your professional legacy. JB.
I don't know why you don't want to talk about employment and business.
You can talk about it.
Okay, let me touch a thing on employment and business.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship. Let me not say business. But I like what Phil said. I don't know if we had a conversation before, but this is a very unpopular opinion. Depending on how nowadays, if you go on TikTok and Instagram, you just get people telling you employment cannot get you to where you want. The thing that they're not telling you is the journey that you need to get for you to get where you want to get with entrepreneurship. For me, where I am, I've never been employed, and I regret that so much. And this is how I started my video for Youth Plus, and I will still echo this here. If you are, it's a very unpopular opinion, but they don't judge me or don't crucify me for this. If you're 26 years old and below and you have not started anything, please go get employed. even if it's just for 2 years. Not just because there's so much noise on social media and don't get employed and stuff, those kind of things. Go get employed for the sole purpose of learning systems and how the business operates. But there are two options in entrepreneurship. Do you want a small kiosk or do you want a big to leave a legacy? Those are the options. If you want a small kiosk, it's okay. You can start and do what you do. But if you have the chance of being here and learning from these people, trust me, go get employed first for 2 years. Just like have a timeline for when you want to be there. Also, don't be too comfortable because you'll be stuck there. But again, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Go get employed, learn the systems, then get out and start your own stuff. And don't start whatever you are learning. Don't just do copy pasting. Look for your passion, then now build. Because some of us, maybe 6 years later is when you're starting to build systems. And trust me, it is killing us. We stay up till 3 a.m. to do systems, something that we'll have done when you were starting the business. So if you're starting your business right now and start with the systems, trust me, you're going to be way, way far from us. And why are we having people playing catch up and they're not learning from the mistakes we made? Because they're also trying to compare the step 0 to someone else's step 20, so they're missing the creating part. Then us will continue becoming the Goliaths of the industry, and yet you guys, I'm not telling you so that you can come for us. You can start building right now, and maybe in 3 years or 5 years from now, you can be the industry leaders. Because trust me, this is something I'm telling you. If you're a Gen Z or a millennial, people are becoming too lazy. People are too ambitious but too lazy. You see, that combination is very dangerous. So what can you do? Lay low, learn systems, learn these free courses. Then when you come out of that room of yours, you become the industry leaders. But what do? We scroll and get pressure. Like huyu amefanya hivi. I was in class with him. We were in the same. Then you think that they have gone, like they are way ahead of you. So just take your time, take a step back, then start building right now. Because I can tell you, the way the world or the way I see the youth are, people are becoming too over ambitious, but they're not willing to put in the work. So if there's 1 or 2 people who are willing to put in the work, trust me, you can be way, way, way far ahead in that interest. I don't know if the point is home, but I hope it is. Yeah.
It is. Thank you.
Not 254.
All right, so I wanted us to talk about some of the qualities, not just in business, but also as an employee. You also employ people. So what are the qualities that you look for and you think, well, this person, there is something great that is going to come out of this person?
Okay. For that one, we are currently at, I think, 58 people, and you have to look at them differently, right? Yeah. We have the informal side and you have the formal side, right? And I usually like, is it Centum, where the store, James Murray was the store manager, he raised till he became the CEO. I love that story. So I usually tell people, even if you're a tailor, even if you're a person who is just working at the stores, you know, you have so much time in your hands, you can take your time to learn about the business. So that if an opportunity, we have this rule, if you're hiring, we start advertising the job internally first. Yeah. So that if anyone feels internally they can apply for the job, they can, then they'll go through the whole process. So imagine this top person who was taking their time to learn about the business. When this time comes, they will, and everyone will be like, why, like, you know, the way watu ofisi wanaonanga kama watu wa kushona ni, I don't know if it happens everywhere, but it's just a human thing. So for me, what I look the grit in someone and the passion to learn. We have an open door policy. So, and one thing that one of my mentors told me, don't ever use the word like common sense in business. Don't ever tell anyone why you're not using your common sense, because that's the worst thing you can tell someone. So for me, we look at how passionate you are about the brand, and don't ever talk to me about get a raise because you want it to be a motivation for you. I don't like the word motivation. I like consistency. You keep doing what you're doing. Let the people notice what you're doing without you having to announce it. Because I feel like sometimes you're doing things, then what happens after you get the raise? Then you're not motivated again. Or the company is not growing and cannot give you that small, then you will stop. Yeah. Then the mistake that we usually do, we have this false sense of arrival. Like someone feels like, without me, the business cannot go anywhere. I usually tell people who are employed, like, don't ever make the mistake of making the company realize it can work without you. Because as an employer, I will start thinking of how I can get rid of you. You see, because you've made me realize, actually, if I fix this system over here, I will not need you here. Because you want to flex, you want to try, like, nikikosa job siku tatu, wataendelea kweli. So I usually just say, show up, have that grit, and keep on going because someone is watching. Yeah, so for me, those are the things that I look at. Yeah.
Phil, do you want to talk about the things that you look at?
Number one, ambition. I really love someone who's super ambitious. In fact, some of the best people I work with are people who tell me to my face, Phil, I'm giving you a maximum of 2 years of my life. Those are the best employees because they then will turbocharge my business because they're not looking at here, they're not getting comfortable. They want to build something bigger than where they are right now. And so as they're building themselves, they're building me. So ambition is number one. Number two is akizimepotea. Ambition. Number two is communication. I love effective communicators. Although this is something now you learn with time. You won't learn at the interview stage, unfortunately. And number three, I love self-aware people. I love to work with self-aware people. So one of the things I want is from day one, clearly communicate to me your weaknesses. You tell me, Phil, may I have a temper? So that from day one I know, okay, this is someone who's self-aware, but more than that, they are willing to work on their weaknesses. Yeah.
Okay. I want to change gears a bit. I was having a conversation with someone earlier, and we talked about how legacy is also about collaboration. That's Lydia. So I want to find out, you guys are leading teams, right? So as a successful leader, how do you ensure that your legacy is not just about you, but also it's empowering people who work with you? We can start with Cris.
All right, great question. And I'll go back to something I mentioned, just with my experience at Ikojn. When I was starting the brand, I actually didn't even want to get into manufacturing, right? I didn't want to have a hand in how the product is made. For me, I just wanted to get a good product and be able to give it, to the consumer, show them how this will elevate their lives. So I really didn't even want to be in production because it's a hard job, it's not easy at all. And anybody who's doing any form of manufacturing here can tell you, I'm sure Job, you can attest and confirm that it gets very, very difficult when you're dealing with, producing something and you're dealing with all these people, so it's difficult. But when I did eventually make that decision and we got into production, one of the things that stood out to me is how much people need skills, People need something that they can learn, so whether or not they are employed, whether or not, whether or not they have a job, they have a skill that they can use themselves that can feed them forever. And that sort of became part and parcel. Actually, it became a very, very core pillar of what we do at Ikojn is let's make sure that whoever comes in here, we're upskilling them and making sure that they're getting lessons and they're learning things that are going to keep them, sustained for future. And that to me is like the meaning of sustainability when it comes to our brand. Everybody has their own meaning of what sustainability is, but for me, sustainability is making sure that the people coming through there, we're making them talent. We're actually equipping them, with skills that will take them on forever, And so that's my part of. It's almost like giving back to the community. And they say if you teach a woman or if you educate a woman, you educate the community. And so that really is like such a big pillar. And even to move away from the brand, I think you had mentioned collaboration. Yeah. I think, and I keep seeing this all the time, the people who are making moves, the people who are actually doing great things, they're not competing, they're collaborating, right? And there's so many ways to collaborate, guys. If you look, even in the audience right now, I'm sure whoever you're seated next to, I'm sure there's ways you can collaborate with them. Heck, I'm going to plug myself. When Terry told me she was going to be our leader of our panel, I told her, Terry, Ikojn needs to dress you. For me, that's collaboration, Find ways in which you can, yes, you're in this industry and you're doing this thing. How can I reach out to someone who's doing something completely different? And how can you guys merge into, do something together? Because then you're gaining a whole new market. You're learning things that you generally would not learn. You'd never even learn it in school, So I think collaboration is the name of the game. And for us, skilling our team when they come in so that even if they leave, they're equipped for life.
Okay. Thank you, Cris. Phil, how are you making sure that your legacy is not just about you?
Part is everything Njoki has just said. Yeah. I always say that the first people I need to learn what I'm learning is the people around me, and that's my team. Yeah. So if I'm learning, for example, to make the money in the creative industry, then if you're close to me, I should see you as well figuring out how to make the money depending on your respective skill. If I'm learning how to grow my personal brand, then even the people around me, how are you growing your personal brand? And at PhilIt, they will tell you that is a culture that is really entrenched. Like, we are very particular about personal brands. Whether you come to work at our place, utapata tu pressure ya to grow your social media. Because we understand right now we're living in a digital world. And then our industry is all about entertainment and showbiz, so we really need to be more vocal online. So that is a question I always ask every beginning of the year to anyone who works with me. What's your plan for the year? How are you planning to grow your personal brand? And the second part of professional personal legacy would be, I didn't think much about this conversation the first time I got the call, because for me I've always been, there's 8 billion human beings, who cares what I'm doing? See, me, I'll just do my work. Yeah. The day I die, niende, life iendelea. But the more I dove into the topic, yes, I realized legacy also has to do with how easy or hard you make it for the people who come after you. So nowadays, when I think about legacy in that way, it's when I walk to an organization and I'm negotiating a contract. Now it's right there in my head, Phil, this is not just for you. Depending on the contract you come out with, it will set pace for all the creatives that come after you. And I know personally I've signed really, really bad contracts that have messed up a lot of creatives that come after me. Because at that point, I wasn't thinking much about this. Mimi nataka tu contract ya sahi nipate do ya rent, I move on. But later on, you go back, you're like, oh my God, there's a whole generation of creatives that will suffer because of the contracts I signed. Yes. If I get a venue like this to hold my event or to shoot a film, depending on how I treat this venue and how my relationship is with the people that run this venue, it will either make or break for other creatives. So if I come and shoot here and destroy everything here, they will not want to see filmmakers in this venue again. So now I'm more conscious about that. And so if I professionally, if I walk a certain path, I want anyone who comes after me to have easier access because I was there first.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but that's deep. That's really deep. And I think we're going to move on to the next question, and I'm going to ask JB. I think it's also in line with what you just said. So we've talked about professional legacy being not just about how successful you are at work, but also just how have you helped others? You know, what will be left? What will people say about what you've done long after you're gone? So, I mean, I want to know, looking at the wider impact of your work, JB, What societal change or shift do you hope your professional legacy will help instigate in like 10, 20 years?
Oh, that's that's a hard one though. 10, 20 years. I believe first of all, let me say, I started learning about teamwork. That's why, for anyone who scanned the QR code, you'll see one of my favorite books is The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. That book, I think I've read it like 6 times, because I wasn't getting it. Why do you have to lift others that much? And maybe you lift them, then my language, I'm trying to use the right words. Then later they show you the finger and they leave. You don't understand, so you know what finger. But anyway, so I didn't understand, so I tried to read it again and again. That's why I came to understand it's not about me, it's about what I'm creating. So nowadays, when I was starting the brand, I used to go for these trainings alone. It's like I was gatekeeping in my own company. Then at some point, I was like, you know what if anything, one day I got an accident and I was like, what if anything happens to me right now and I can't run the brand? Then what happens? Home to 5 like 1 month, it's gone. You see, so I don't want that. So what do I do nowadays? Any training, any meeting I go, nowadays I go for my meetings without my notebooks, because like I'm not going to action that thing. So the team that is there, so I carry like a team of 5. So I give them projects. When they miss the project, what do I do again? Yeah, a long time when they miss the project, I'll be like, utalipwa imwezi, because of that. But nowadays you're like, okay, where was the challenge? What do we need to do together? Blah, 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 all those kind of things. So if I go for trainings, I go with my team. So if I go for such meetings, such networking event, I go with my team. I used to gatekeep, yes, because I'm like, if I create a relation between my employee and Cris, what happens if they leave? And you know, people are not ethical. People do you dirty, you see. But at some point, you might be doing that for people who might build your brand 10x more than you could do. So nowadays what I do for me to be able to maybe have the brand exist in the next 20 or 10 years. So the thing is, I educate my leaders, my leadership team, so that if I can't make a decision, I believe like the people you employ are supposed to be better than you in that particular space. I can't employ an accountant. I was having this conversation with Phil about the accounting thing. I can't employ an accountant and again I tell them how to do their job better. You see, it doesn't make sense. But we like holding every part. But again, we need to let go and believe like these people are going to make the right decision. They're going to fail you for the first 5 decisions they make or 10. But you have to take it. As a leader, you take all the fails and you give your team all the wins. It's not easy because I want to be out there saying like it's JB, I want to do all the interviews, I want to do all the thing. But I don't do that. I push them. Like public speaking, presentations, and some of them have left because of me pushing them, because it's not about me. Because people want to do the bare minimum, right? And again, in your company, not everyone will want to grow. So you have to identify those, and that's the work of a leader. I believe like that's my job every single day, to identify the people who want to grow. And those people want to do, because also you need those people who just want to be there. So for us to exist for that long, I am literally like intentionally building a team, a leadership team that will be able to run the business. Yeah, and I believe like that's the only thing I can do right now to make sure we exist in the long run. Like I am here, what's happening? I remember maybe a long time ago, maybe 2 years ago, if I was here, everything will have stopped. Now I'm here, and after I'm done here, I'll just go sit in the audience, but I'm not worried that what will happen, yeah, because we are trying to believe like people are ethical. We're building an ethical team. We're building a team that wanaweza jituma. Some people, if you give them a chance, they will try to prove you wrong. Like hata wengine wakwambia trip for 2 weeks without kutupigia simu. Then I'm like, hapana. Nitarudi 2 weeks nipate company exist. But now I try that and see what they can do, because some people want to beat my records. Like I have the highest sales. I'm still waiting for them to beat that highest sales record in a day. So no one has yet beat that, but they want to do that so that they can also see like they are doing things for themselves. Yeah. So I believe like just empowering the team and allowing them to make mistakes. Hata kama utasikia vibaya, sometimes you can't control it, so don't feel don't be too hard on them.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Chris, what mechanisms or systems are you putting in place to ensure that the business is sustainable? I know this sounds morbid, like long after you're gone. Like Ikojn will still be, Ikojn.
Yeah, so I think for me, I'm just going to echo a lot of what JB just said. It's truly empowering your team. Running a brand or a business, you start your own business and, because you're starting it out alone or even if you have a partner, a lot of times we have this perception that, I can't expose everything, the inner workings of the business to my team because then they might just snatch it up and then make it their own. And it's actually interesting, the other day I was seeing somebody do a poll, I think it was Joanna on stories, something about like how much do you actually show your team in terms of the money, right? So do you show them how much you earn as a business? Are you transparent with the numbers? And, majority, and if you asked me this 2 years ago, I'd be like, no, you can't, oh my goodness. They'll start asking for more salaries, they'll start asking for increments. But about 2 years ago, I had this, and I think I got it from a podcast I listened to, and I thought, look, why am I hiding numbers from the team I'm expecting for us to keep beating records and keep improving and keep making more, It didn't make sense to me. And at that point, there was a shift, and I said, look, now we're going to put it all out there. Because I think the minute you start having that sort of transparency with your team, you all start working collectively towards the goal together, right? And of course, there are some things. If you have some super secret recipes or something that makes your business super, super unique, like Coca-Cola, of course, those ones you can keep away.
Yeah.
But in terms of just general numbers, I think it'll even your team will get educated and they even will start thinking, okay, I'm not going to keep asking for a raise. I'm not going to keep asking for commissions, things, because I know the numbers. Unless we get us to this point, and that's the sort of culture you want to cultivate within the team.
Yeah.
But it doesn't start unless you're willing as the entrepreneur and the founder or the CEO to empower them. Give them the information so that they can grow and they can help you achieve your dream. The other thing I want to point out is the training, right? See, especially with your management team, the people who are working closely with you, you need to see how you can elevate them so that, yes, they've come in with the knowledge and the experience that you're gaining as a business from them, but how then do they elevate themselves personally, right? Encourage them to start their own personal brands, even encourage them to start their own social media, start speaking on the things they're good at, and that's something we'll try even at the Ikojn team. It's like, you're good at this thing, let other people see it, Encourage them, because these are the things that have shaped me as an entrepreneur. How then can I help shape you? And there's even something interesting we do at the Ikojn team. We have this fund, it's like a savings fund we have, especially for our production team, because a lot of the guys in our production are from humble backgrounds, and so we actually started this fund about 3-4 years ago, where they're able to save a portion of their salaries every month, and Ikojn, the company, is able to put in a bit of percentage, a bit of interest there to help them keep saving. And I'd say right now, 2/3 of them now have been able to save up. They have their own machines at home. And so they finish work at 4 and they have their own customers. They go and produce stuff for them. And then I train them on how to run their own small business. So we'll have small classes every month where I tell them things. I teach them things to do with pricing, how to price your product, how to retain your customer, And yes, when we were starting it, people around me were like, aren't you scared they'll just stop and go and start their own business and leave you? I'm like, yes, it's a fear, but are they living empowered? Yes. I've empowered a woman there who's going to start her own business. Even if it comes and becomes bigger than Ikojn, I'm building the community. And the more brands and the more made in Kenya businesses we can build, the better we are as a community and as an industry.
I absolutely love that. Now, I know you have a lot of burning questions, right? Right? Yes? So I want you to write down the questions because you're going to pick them after this last question. And I want us to talk about the role of mentorship in building a professional legacy. feel?
Manze kuna maswali ngumu. Skin kama kwa exam.
I'm sorry.
The role of mentorship in building a professional legacy.
Yes.
Sitting from where I'm sitting, when I talk to mentors or people who, are achieving success at a much higher scale, I think once you have such conversations with such mentors, then you realize some things that you didn't care about and why it's important to start caring about them. So, for example, what both Njoki and JB have been talking about, training and upskilling the people that you work with. I was talking to a mentor and, same fears. Hey, what if I invest in training these people and then after all that investment, they leave me? And then he asked me, what if you don't train them and they stay with you? So, case in point, so having mentors tends to show you what you're about to meet ahead. Yeah. They've been through this, they've gone through it, so sometimes you're over there panicking, you meet someone, they're like, bro, you too? No pressure. So one mentorship will just make this world a better place.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're going to train me on good practices of running a business, and then I will mentor the people that come after me on good practices of running a business. Yes. I'm going to mentor the people that come after me on ways we can grow the industry together. Yeah. And so right now, our industry probably produces maybe like $1 million, I'm just guessing. Yeah. But if we, with the right mentorship, 10 years, 20 years from now, this will be like $1 billion industry. Yeah. And so that means our country is growing, people are living much better. So mentorship is everything. Yeah.
I think I'm going to speak for people who feel a bit shy to talk to maybe a mentor, because we're here, right? So what has helped me is reading books. Sometimes I feel like, maybe Steve Jobs is like my mentor because there's so much that he has written and shared. There are autobiographies, they have written memoirs. Like you can go and read all these books. You can go and listen to podcasts of some of the world's greatest minds. And sometimes it might be hard for you to reach out to someone and say, please, will you mentor me? But just through the books and the resources that they have shared online, their autobiographies and stuff like that, I have sometimes felt like, this person could actually mentor me. Like I know this book from A to Z. I know their principles. I know what they apply in their businesses. And I feel like it's also a way of enriching your mind in case you are not a person who's, because personalities, right? Sometimes it might be very hard for you to approach someone, and that's just who you are. So that has helped me. I don't know if, JB, you have something to add, but I would also like for us to take your questions.
Something on mentorship. But who's a mentor? Do we even know who a mentor is? Is a mentor someone who gets more views on their reels? Or is it someone who gets more likes? Or who is a mentor? For me, I would really like to understand that. But anyway, I have mentors. And when I was starting the business, I could not get a mentor in Kenya. Because sometimes you ask help from mentors in Kenya and inaitwa je on Instagram, yo macho, like they will see it then just let you like leave it there. So what did I do? I just continued building, then you're going to attract. So I attracted mentors who now have even set up places in Kenya because of the kind of business they've seen being built here in Kenya. The role of mentors that they play, they make sure you know that this can be done. You can actually do it, and they show you the way. Mentor is supposed to, they hold your hand. They don't just tell you, do this, then let you do it. So they hold your hand, and those are the best people you can. And they don't want something in return. Sometimes you maybe pay for their time or something. Yeah. But for me, I was lucky enough. I've never paid for mentorship. Because they see the kind of impacts you bring. Some people in this world are so good. They will just want to be part of that impact that you're creating. So for me, mentors, and every stage, you need a different mentor. I can't be just starting a business and I want Steve Jobs as a mentor or that kind of. That's like step 0 and step 100. You're going to fail. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So look, every different stage, look for a mentor in that particular space so that you don't get too lost or too overwhelmed, because you'll start, then get into business, then drop out. So it's just the kind of mentor you look for. And those are the things that people don't talk about. We'll just talk about mentorship. This person is my mentor, but people don't understand. They're also like, the mentors can make even your business fail. Yeah. So, and you don't get that point, then you'll start blaming the mentor. Then you'll say, "Ata mentors wasaidiangi." You see, it's just you got the wrong mentor. And for me, that's it about the mentors. Yeah.
Right. I think on mentorship, always think of mentors in two ways. There are those inspirational mentors who you cannot reach, like you mentioned, Steve Jobs. And then the second part of mentorship is a coach, someone you can actually talk to and they guide you. So, have that, differentiate that, who can be your coach and who you can look up for inspiration.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to ask our lovely MCs to pass on the mic. Okay, I can do it. We're going to have 5 questions only. You raised your hand first. Please, one question.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Eugene Okana. I'm the Kenya Unit representative, but I'm also running my own consultancy firm. I really love the discussion that you guys have had. One of the things that is common, it has happened to me that you guys were reading the same books. Last month I was reading The Diary of the CEO, and I'm reading the one for Start With Why by Simon Sinek. So that's something lovely. I wanted to ask a question. Possibly I'll ask it to Phil. How do you keep it fresh? Being the fact that a leader is not the smartest, the strongest, the largest, or even the fastest, so to say. There's this book by Todd. He writes and say the title of the book is Leading Tigers. And I think the biggest responsibility you have is to manage those who are strongest, fastest, largest, and smartest than you. How do you do that from your own perspective? Thank you.
One of the things I've learned being a leader is, actually the question is, what is the definition of a CEO or a leader? And if you ask me, a leader is someone who gives you space to be yourself. I think the best and the greatest leaders are the people who actually give space to the team to innovate, be themselves, make mistakes, and grow. So how we keep it fresh, I am very open to ideas. Sometimes my team comes with ideas, I'm like, what is that? Okay, let's just do it. Because I don't understand it. You talk to, we were just having a conversation with Njoki and Chosel and JB, and he was pleased at how people movies with a TikTok scroll, like you keep scrolling. I don't understand it. Personally, I get pissed. I've spent millions making a film, but for Gen Zs, they want that film chopped up into 70 episodes, and then they want to watch it on 360p. Many may shoot on 8K, and they want to scroll. You see, I'll never understand it, but if I have Gen Zs on my team and I am open to the ideas, I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but let's do it. And so from outside looking in, you're like, hey, Phil and the team, they're fresh. Idea iko yangu. Aki. Kwa Gen Z.
All right, we've got another one here. Hi, Phil. My name is Angela Pregod from Mombasa. I came just for this event.
Wow.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, and to also represent my husband, because you're an inspiration to him. And you've touched on mentorship, which is something that he really wanted from you, but he really didn't know which way to go the approach. So I'm asking this for him as I wait for Vusi, because Vusi inspires me, not you. But for him, yeah, so maybe which way could we approach you, or can you give me your contact so that I'll pass it to him? Or can I give you his contact so that you can reach directly to him, because he's inspired with your journey and would like for you to coach him through his journey?
I feel like there's something I've been running away, because I get this request so many times. at this point, I think I just need to build like a club. So once we're done with the panel, I'll be seated here at the front. Just come over, we talk, we see how we can keep in touch. And then we...
And also just to add on that, to echo, this is an issue that I know I've had as well. I don't know about JB. When it comes to mentorship, when you're in your position of, where we are right now, we're running our businesses, you do want to help, you do want to mentor, but we don't have systems to help us do that in a way that doesn't take away from what we are currently doing. And so I want to put it out there for you guys. If there's someone who has a plan on how, maybe people in business, a platform where we can give ourselves to be able to mentor with a plan. So it's not like we're taking, because you can imagine the number of requests Phil is getting a day, even JB is getting a day on, mentor me. If there's someone there with a solution for us, I'd be happy to hear it.
Absolutely.
All right, we've got another one right here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi Phil, hi Njoki, hi JB. I would want to presume the finger that JB talked about is the thumbs up, not the index or the other one. But my question is mainly directed to Phil. Many businesses that are huge are businesses built with a family name brand. You are in a business where you've risen up on a process that we've seen with a friend of yours and several others close to you. How do you draw a line between friendship and business? Then the MC told me to ask one, but I'm going to add one more. On one side, this will go to Phil. Based on your professionalism, your business is built on something that you studied back in school. How do you find it easier to run it? And then the other side is, we learned in a statistics on the first presentation, 50% of employees have a side business. And I would presume an accountant wouldn't be running an accounting firm behind the back. It would be a business that it's something completely out of what they studied. So Njoki and JB, JB being an engineer, I don't know the background for Njoki. How hard do you find it to learn on what you really want to build as a business? Thank you.
Awesome. I am happy that you've recognized that a lot of businesses are built on the background of family names. From all the biggest businesses you can mention in the world, Disney, JP Morgan, I think in their world, the fashion world, I think all the big businesses are built on the back of, Icon. Icon is Njoki backwards, so, so one, I think a family brand gives a brand personality, and people will always get attached to other human beings. So having a family name or an actual name actually helps. Now, in terms of friendship and business dynamics, it's just hard conversations very regularly so that you know that you have the same vision. The reason why a lot of friends cannot work together or family cannot work together is because you just have two different visions. Wazungu wanaita division, which I call division. So if someone is going left and you're going right, then definitely mtakosana. So if there's one thing we do with my business partner, Abel, is consistently we are checking in to see, is our vision still aligned? And sometimes our visions do take separate routes, but the end goal is the same. And so at some point, for example, with Abel, the last 4 years, he's been on a trajectory of building the Mkurugenzi brand, which is very different from where PhilIt is currently headed, but the end game is the same. And so I allow him to take that trajectory. So I lessen the workload he has at PhilIt, because by building the Mkurugenzi brand, he's building a mass market brand that feeds into PhilIt. So eventually it will help us get to the goal. So it's having hard conversations. Your second question was about running a business from the same background, oh well, it helps. It absolutely helps. Yeah.
We have one here.
So maybe I'll add to what Phil answered about working with friends and maybe let's say family. I feel like from the beginning, you set the boundaries straight. Then from that, again, you do check-ins to just see if your goals still align. Because if they don't align, then that's a big problem. Then about me being an engineer, yes, that was my dad's thing. Mtoto wangu ni engineer. You know, that's when you're doing those things for parents. But that's, whatever I learned in engineering, I feel like the thing it gave me is resilient and not giving up. Because engineering is crazy. So doing it for 5 years, then coming to do this kind of business. But they have the relation of the creativity part of it, you see. So I have a creative mind. So engineering just boosted it, and now maybe I use the brain that I would have used there to create stuff for Home 254. So they kind of have a relation, but if someone does what they're not related to what they did in school, I feel like sometimes it's passion and continuous learning that helps. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm learning a lot. So I have a question for you, JB. You mentioned that you should hire and fire first. So where I'm seated, you have built a brand with these people, and the brand is really growing. Now, how do you deal now with that guilt of letting somebody go who you have built the brand with? Because also like being a Christian, it's not sitting well with me, and I am kind of right there at this moment. Allow me to ask another question. Cris, you have two brands, your personal brand and the business brand, and they're totally different. How do you balance when it comes now to the creativity? Because I know you are the mind behind the icon. You are the creative director there. So how does it take, like when you are doing for icon, do you feel like your other personal brand is suffering, or how do you balance the two? Thank you.
Ladies first.
Thanks for that question. So what I'm going to say about having two brands or even multiple brands is they're going to require different versions of you at different times, right? And I know personally for me, my journey with Icon and with the Cris brand, I have moments where I literally have to tell my team at the Cris brand, guys, I need some time because Icon needs me 80%, right? Or 90% or even 100. And we'll have a time period. I'll say, okay, fine, for like 2-3 months, I just need to do this thing real quick, but I'll be back. And so that's, for me, it's like how I balance. And to me, it's okay because the brands, you know, they all have their own goals, their own visions, their own plan of how they work. And I try not to put too much pressure on myself because then I know I'm just one person. I cannot be 100% excellent in both at the same time. I'm just going to end up giving 50-50 and then we're not going to achieve any excellence. And so it's just that. It's sort of like releasing the pedal on one as you put the gas on the other one, and then just also building teams around both so that in those times when you're not able to be fully present in one of the brands, you have at least a solid team around who are able to keep things moving whether or not you're there. So I hope that gives a bit of insight, but that's how I do it.
I know you didn't ask me, but I want to chime on to that because it's something I've been passionately studying on currently. And the question you asked and the answer she gave you is a much bigger conversation in that what we're experiencing right now in the entire world is a digital revolution. So the world is moving from running from an industrial revolution phase into the digital revolution. So imagine in the 1800s, you used to have a big farm with a lot of slaves and casual workers working for you. And then one day someone comes with a tractor and you have to fire everyone else, and that tractor replaces hundreds of people. It must have been confusing for them then. Like, what am I supposed to do? What, where will I go? And now that's exactly what we're experiencing right now. The industrial age was you go to school, you learn a skill, you get employed for the skill, or you make money from that skill. Now, the digital age, the one thing that will put you ahead of everyone else is personal brand. And it's very confusing. Like, I am here having a conversation about business and entrepreneurship and leadership, yet I was trained as a filmmaker. I am getting more gigs on this side of the hustle as compared to being a filmmaker, which is the skill I learned. So moving forward, stop looking at personal brand and running your business as two different entities. It's one and the same thing. In the digital age, your personal brand will pull your business. Elon Musk has more followers than NASA and SpaceX and whoever combined. Jeff Bezos has more followers. I can mention so many people, and that's the world we're living in. So don't even get confused. Work on your personal brand. Believe it or not, your personal brand will pull your business further in this age we are living in.
Okay, so let me answer the first part of that. I've always wanted to ask Cris the same question, because how she handled this, I don't understand. Yeah, at least I've gotten the answer. So for the question about firing and hiring, so we need to understand that the business has faces, right? And some employees are seasonal. They're supposed to take you from point A to point B. If this employee was supposed to take you from 0 Kenyan shillings to 10 million Kenyan shillings, and you see that they can't take you to 50 million Kenyan shillings, you'll have to get rid of them, but in an ethical way. First of all, I'm a faith-driven entrepreneur, so I am so big on ethics. So you need to understand, like, even me, there are people who I started with, there are some who are still with us years later, but there are some who I had to get rid of. Because I can realize this one was supposed to take me from here to here. Now to get from here to where I want to be in the next 2 years, it cannot work. And you have to realize that first and fire first. Because in Kenya, you have to realize that labor laws protect employees so much. So I have a HR and I have a legal team. So before, I can't just wake up and say you're fired. So we go through the process. I'll give you an example. There's someone I wanted to, in quotes, get rid of. It has taken me 3 months because I want to give them a chance, put them on PIP, do all those things, give them a chance, then so that by the time we are done, we say, like, we tried everything and now it's time for you to go, but we wish you well wherever you're going to go, because they can find somewhere else where their skills. We don't say the people we fire are not bad people. It's just their time at the brand or at the business is done. So, and you have to do it fast, because it will be you now doing wrong to that person, because you're keeping them there and they're not growing, they're not achieving anything, so you're wasting their time. So for me, I just say, like, you have to realize, like, where the business needs to go. Like, when you're doing our company strategy, we need to know, like, this is where we need to go, and these are the people we're going to need, and these are the characters we need. If those people don't tick those boxes, it's time to start thinking of letting them go. That's why you need to work with contracts, because without contracts, you're going to put yourself in some trouble. So the people who have 3 months contracts, some have 6 and some have 1 year, so that you can give someone a chance to just prove themselves that they can get better. If not, please fire. Because there's this one quote that I had and it really makes sense to me. What you're not changing, you're choosing. So you can't say my business is not making money and you look at that person and they're like, umtu nisaidie, but you're still keeping them there. So please, fire fast. Even if someone, maybe they're
in the audience. It has just been fantastic, the fact that you're so engaged. Thank you so much for listening to us. I think, it's time to wrap it up, but also we're going to be in the audience. So in case you have any more questions, please feel free to approach them. They're very friendly. Phil has a checkbook. He brought it, so I'm just saying. Shoot your shot, make your pitch. They're going to be in the audience, but thank you so much. You have been so lovely. Thank you.